All right, all right, all right. Well, well, well. And happy holidays to you all. Herb Lewis and I, David Lorenzo Glover, aka C2, is back for another live broadcast in the Counselor's Corner via Facebook and also streaming on YouTube. Um, Last week, well, let me get before that. We're also streaming from StreamYard, the StreamYard platform. Last week, our central theme was how abusive are you when you date? Really didn't touch too much on that, but it happens. But like I always say, it's sure to come up in these discussions sooner or later. Um, so, can we say a heated broadcast? 3 hours of going back and forth. 3 hours. You heard it right. From like 9 to 12 o'clock. So it was crazy. Tonight, our central main theme will be why do emotional, unavailable men exist? Now let's take a look at the other two essential talking points, and that's one of the things we had realized that we had like six talking points or five additional talking points, never was able to get through them, so just going to reduce it down. So to have basically three total talking points. So number one, May December romances when older men are dating younger women or vice versa. And number two, male victims. Can they be victims of older women? Finally, after spending all your money on Christmas items, let's try to get back by winning the Can You Solve Herb's Riddle contest for the $20 Cash App stimulus package. I'm interested to know if seven-time winner Amy, and the champ is here, uh, will close out the year with the title. Guess we'll find out shortly. As we'll find out if she's going to go into 2021 still holding on to that title. So we shall see. But good evening, Amy. Good evening, Ebony. Also, I have Rebecca in the studio. I'm going to let her in. But what's good, Herb?
Man, just another day in paradise, people. Getting ready to shut this year down. Like I was discussing earlier with David, I'm doing a year-end audit of my finances. Things are looking pretty good last year, even with the downturn in the economy. So I'm looking forward to putting some things together. Hopefully, getting the mentoring program up and running so we can get that up and running. Other than that, man, I got nothing, no complaints, man. As the old ship captain says, it's a flat calm out there.
All right. All right. Latoya, good evening. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Rebecca, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm
Your
fine.
boys in the dog fight.
What?
Your boys in the dog fight 10-10.
I'm watching it. They just let them score a touchdown. Got me over here yelling at the TV.
She said let them score a touchdown like Patriots are. They got a down year, but you can never count out
I'm
the
not tripping. We
Patriots.
already in the playoffs, so they can let the third
Mhm.
stringers in and let them get some practice time. It's all good.
Mhm. All right, all right. So how you doing, Rebecca?
I'm doing good. It's a good
That's
week.
good.
Tomorrow is my daughter's birthday, so that's the last birthday for December for me. So I get back to
All three
saving
of them,
some money. All three of
all
them
three
are
of them
born
in
in
December.
December. Mm-hmm. The
Because I know
5th.
Earl started in December. Because I think Eris is the sixth. Because his comes right
No.
before mine, and I can't remember.
Earl is the 5th, Eric is the 23rd, Jan is the
Okay,
29th.
okay.
So, yeah, we're going out to dinner tomorrow, and I'm fixing to put myself on a savings challenge.
Mm.
You,
Yeah, it's
you know
definitely
what?
that time.
Yeah,
You know the funny thing about that is I just saw one because remember the one that you did? I think it was last year where you had the I think the 52 envelopes, David.
Yeah.
I did a $5,000 savings challenge last year, and it took the whole year. It was it wasn't that bad, but I'm trying to. I ended up saving more money than what I anticipated. So
Good.
if I can stop buying clothes and shoes and quit smoking cigarettes, I could probably.
I saw that, and I was gonna get on you about that last week. I said, you know what? I'm gonna let her rock today because she's having fun.
I'm good because yeah, my daughter's buying a house, and so she's moving back home next month until she closes. So she was
See,
like,
I'm
"I
not even
got
gonna
you. We're gonna quit
I'm
smoking."
not, You already know where I was gonna go with that.
Yeah, it's gonna get ugly, but we gonna do it. I'm committed.
Well,
She
no, no,
told
no,
me
no,
I
no.
could save. She
Because
said I could
because
save $2,600 if I stop smoking. That enough
but
was
that was the conversation that we had last year on your aunt sports about home ownership versus
yeah,
renting.
yeah. She's at first she wanted a condo, and then she decided she wanted a house, and now she wants to move back to Grand Prairie to be a little closer to home, which I'm excited about. But either way,
No, and that's
we should buy a
and you
house.
know what, that's a good thing because you know
Yeah.
what the funny thing about it. If I look at my life and a sum total, and people ask me if I had to do anything over again, what would I change? And the only thing I might change was actually I had an opportunity to go to Syracuse on the EOP program, the same way that I did Buffalo State. That's probably the only thing I would have changed. I
Yeah.
don't want to. Other than
Yeah.
that, no.
And she promised to give me a grandbaby by the time she turned 30. So I'm just, I'm here for it all. I am here for it all. I done bought me an apron and everything. I am here for it. I am here for it. So yes, we'll see.
It's amazing what 10 to 15 years to do to your latitude in terms of being an adult, man. It really is.
Man, look, I've been trying to squeeze a baby out of her for years, and I just finally gave up. And she told me today, and what? I'm saving for that too. So yeah, I'm ready. I'm definitely
Hey,
ready.
Frederick, if you want to come in, man, here's the link. I'll drop the link in the chat. That's for anybody, actually, not just Fred. So you just click on the link, and it should bring you in, and they will bring you up on the panel. So, and you don't have to be live if you don't want to. You can use an avatar. It'll give you the option where you can just turn on your camera.
How's the weather up there?
We got rain. And Mother Nature must be off her mess because the weekend we got hammered. We got about 6 to 8 inches. Of
Really?
course, Buffalo, yeah, Buffalo and South Towns, they got killed. They got about 18. But it was raining yesterday or earlier today. So most of the snow that we had is melted, and you know, it's just like, hey, I'm waiting for the calendar to turn to January and February because I already know that creature's gonna be out there looming, sitting on the
Yeah.
fence for us to come out.
Yeah. Hi.
Hey, Scorpio
Hey
T, thanks for
y'all.
joining us tonight.
Thanks for having
All
me
right,
back.
Where's number 3 of our trio? Where's she at?
Soraya,
She's
you never
Sure.
know. I
yeah,
guess we
well,
She's
got to get.
come in
I
when
guess
she
we
feel
got to
like
get.
it.
I guess we got to get it going, get it popping, and then she
Okay.
usually comes in and takes over. So,
the close.
her,
Yes.
I know you came up with the title about the emotional unavailable man. Like, how do they exist or why do they exist? Talk to us about that.
Well, because I'm not one of those individuals. I actually had to really go back and look up some things to see what the experts said about the emotional unavailable man. And it's kind of interesting what they said about it. And I'll read this. It says an emotionally unavailable man is typically not willing to or able to truly commit to you and be loyal to you. This type of man will often want to keep things casual and undefined so as not to deal with any of the emotional components that go into long-term relationships. Now, what I found interesting about that is from the discussion that I was able to, or from the information that I was able to take from the discussion, it just seemed like the emotional unavailable man was just looking to play the field. And I guess to a degree, that's what this is what this is saying. But I don't know. I mean, I really can't speak to a man not wanting to commit to a relationship, even in an emotional relationship, unless unless the relationship is just a friends with benefits relationship or just a jump off situation to where he doesn't have to. And I suppose that's probably where part of that stems from is one party wanting more than the other one's given. Because I've known people to have situations that start out as a friends with benefits, and then your feelings become involved, and then you have one person that's wanting more or giving more than the other person is, and all of a sudden now you start to get to that gray area, and people are unhappy, whether it be the male or the female, and this happens a lot when you deal with a married individual who's actually being unfaithful. So that's interesting. I would have to defer to the ladies in terms of what their thoughts are regarding the unemotional available man.
I don't know any of those types of guys, so I would be hard pressed to speak about it. But what you say sounds valid. I would think they don't want to attach because they don't want to commit, unless there's some other deep seated psych issue. But I honestly can't speak on that because I don't know any men like that.
It's some of the things that I read too, to piggyback off of what Herb said. They were saying sometimes society, just the way that men are taught not to be emotional, not to
Mhm.
cry, not to do that. Many of us were raised like that. So in cases like that, when you're taught not to show or express yourself, that stuff becomes deep rooted inside you that you may not know how to express yourself, especially, I mean, unless pretty much from a female dominant family or something like that. But in some cases, when you got a lot of males in your family, that's the message that you're getting a lot of times. So, and I think that caused it. Then they also talked about like psychological trauma. Something could have happened in the past that, makes man, you know, emotionally unavailable in relationships. So it was quite a couple of different examples. What's going on, Master Barber Fred? Thanks for joining us tonight.
You have to
Well,
unmute
I'm
yourself.
not gonna lie. I think I
It's,
consider myself pretty
it's a
progressive
privilege.
and
What's
pretty
going on?
forward. It still bothers me to see a man cry. It just it almost unglues me, even when it's truly warranted, like a death or something like that. Seeing a man that damn vulnerable, um, just I find it uncomfortable. Not that I can't comfort him, but something about it, a big strong man. I still kind of have some of those chauvinistic beliefs. Guys are strong,
Wow.
they're the protector. Not that I can't take care of me, but I really do believe that. I'm not gonna lie. To see a man just lose that type of control like that, to me it's unnerving to me. So I can only imagine what it must feel like for him to display that in front of a woman. So I would think most men, they try real hard not to do that.
Well, and I think that again, I'm always gonna say that knowing your personnel. If
That is
if
true.
you're a woman that's not receptive to that and kind of like, yo, man up with your big ass crying for or something like that, I think that that's a relationship going down a dead end street. And I think
It
men,
depends on why
men
he
need to be
crying.
vulnerable. So, say
Well,
for
If he
example,
stubbed his
let
toe
me
and he
say this.
crying, he needs to go ahead on and shut up. But if
Well,
his
well,
mama
well,
just died, I understand that, So it all depends, but it is quite the sight to see a grown man cry. I'm not gonna lie. At
I
least for me,
think
it is.
I think availability is a choice. I don't think that everyone gets to see the emotionally quote, available side of a person, because if you don't create a safe space for them to do it in, you'll never see
They'll
it.
never see
I
it.
don't necessarily have a problem with a man crying, but I would have a problem with him being a crybaby. There's a
Yeah,
difference.
yeah,
So, the emotional unavailability is a choice, because in my lifetime, I have had some real, um, what is it, stereotypical macho man really break down. It is heartbreaking, and it's even more heartbreaking to know that they don't have a safe space with people they should be able to trust to do that with.
yeah.
That was,
Fred, did
what,
you?
go ahead, David.
I was gonna say, Fred, did you want to add something to that?
Now I'm just
Unmute.
listening right now, man.
He's just
Just
listening.
soaking it up. That's it. Yeah.
I remember, and I always like to give personal testimonies. I remember when I found out that I was headed to work, and I had got a phone call before going to work that my grandmother was she was gonna pass. So they was like it's a matter of hours. So when I went to work, eventually I ended up kind of breaking down. I had called before and let them know I was running late. So I end up kind of breaking down, And it was funny because my department chair at the time, she was a white woman counselor, and I broke down. She see me, I started to cry. And her ass ran and got the hell out of Dodge when I started crying. And I'm thinking like, damn, aren't you a counselor or whatever? But so she ended up telling the secretary, which was a sister. So she came in there and we talked, whatever, and she kind of made sure that, I was all right and was like, why don't you go home? And I was like, that ain't gonna do nothing but me sitting around the house just waiting
Yeah.
for it to happen. So I'd rather come to work and try to do something. But it was a long day, but I just thought that was funny. I don't think some people can handle when a man breaks down, and that's something that people need to to consider because you just never know. Those men that's hardcore and straight macho, sooner or later, sometimes that's a facade, and when they do break down, hey, watch out or look out.
I think it's the
I
same
You
way
know,
think
when
it's.
a
I
guy
really
sees
think
his
it's
girlfriend kick
unfair.
a guy's ass. You're just kind of like, oh, okay,
I really think it's
all
really
right,
unfair that men, it's a double, women, we
yeah,
always cry about the double standard, but it's a truly double standard when it applies to a man.
it is.
You spend your life trying to, well, some people spend their life telling men, be strong, be strong, be strong. Hey man, suck it up, suck it up, suck it up, suck it up. And so then when they be crazy, you can't figure out why. And it's simply because they can't express what's inside of them. Like my sons are hardcore dudes, I'm not gonna lie. But if they cry for any reason, I'm gonna be there to help them restore
Yeah,
themselves. I mean, they human. Things hurt. When
yeah.
you hurt, you got a right to express that hurt. You have a right to let that out, just like everybody else does. So I don't like the now. I'm not saying I want any man to be as soft as a marshmallow. That's not what I'm saying to Okay. I don't want somebody that the wind blows and every time you blink, they crying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I feel like the double standard is so ingrained in them. And I kind of wonder, when do you as a man overcome that? I know you were taught this, but once you're an adult, you have the right to make your own decisions and you have a right to let your feelings be known because I just told one of my sons, I believe that it was, that when there's two people in a relationship, both of them, what they have to say and feel is valid. What she has to say is valid. What she feels is valid. What you have to say is valid, and what you feel is valid. Now, if they can't hear you when you speaking, then you might want to rethink some things. You know what I'm saying? So
I
I
think
want to know,
it
when
that
do you
makes it
overcome that?
hard though when we don't tell men, you know, you say you don't want one to be as soft as a marshmallow, but they also don't know when it's okay for them to cry. What feeling do they have that to them it's valid enough for them to cry about without us thinking they're a marshmallow? You know what I mean?
well,
It,
I'll I'll tell you this to what David's point is when he got that call before work. I got the text that my mother had passed while I was at work, and I was fortunate enough that I worked the overnight shift, and there was nobody around. Now Becky will tell you that I have absolutely no problem crying when it's warranted. She's already seen it. She's seen the full. She's seen the full board. I was the discussion that I was referencing year before last, correct, Rebecca?
yep,
I was on and it hit.
yep.
You know, my mother's situation, just what we were talking about, and hey, and it just got to the point where it overwhelmed me, and I had to let it go.
But you know that would be expected. A death for anyone, man or woman, would be expected. But um,
No,
you know,
I'm talking about the year
when
before
is it
last.
not okay for a guy to cry? Are y'all waiting for us to tell you you shouldn't be crying about that, or and I think sometimes that's why men are so distant because whatever the particular emotion is for that reason, they might not feel like they can cry, in front of a female. A death is a given, but you know, if they wrecked their car and it was their favorite car, their most absolute favorite car, and they shed a tear, are they being a punk? If their girlfriend
Not in
breaks
my
up with
opinion.
them and they cry, are they being a punk? You know what I mean? So I don't think they even know when it's okay for them to express those types of emotions in front of women because I'm not really sure how the hell I'm gonna react, tell you the
To
truth.
me, actually,
But
crying is strength.
Yes, it
it's a
is.
form of
Good for
strength or
some.
Exactly.
whatever to show you
Exactly.
that I can be vulnerable around you. I can you taking a risk, putting yourself out there. So that I remember, and this was, of course, I always had sports parallel. I remember, I think it was Kevin Garnett was getting interviewed by John Thompson, and Kevin Garnett broke down and started crying, and he was, he was very upset, and John. And he was like, "Man, I'm sorry for breaking down." And John Thompson, the great late John Thompson, he pretty much said, "Nah, brother, go ahead. Let it out, whatever. That's strength right there, whatever. I appreciate you being vulnerable, and because sometimes our situations allow tears are going to be brought out
Yeah.
when you've been through stuff, whatever. You can't walk around. Secrets keep you sick, and you can't walk around with all that in your heart. And
Yeah.
you just said, like you said, it's a difference from a crybaby or somebody just crying to be damn crying over any damn thing. But some things, I mean, like maybe losing a job or being
Yeah.
frustrated, or maybe you were up for a promotion, you didn't get it, and you had your
Yeah.
heart into it, and you came and like, damn, I don't know what I got to do to get ahead or some. I think times like that, people, you just got to let that person be vulnerable and just be there for them. Not
And that's
with the
the
You know,
saying,
thing
man
too.
up, man your ass up. Okay, you didn't get the job. Oh well, man up. That's not the stuff that men want to hear.
Here's the
to
thing
find
that
out,
people forget. Pain is pain. It does not matter if you are male or female. Pain is pain. Hurt is hurt. And so how dare you tell somebody they don't have a right to hurt or to express their pain? How dare you? I feel like if it, because people place value on what they place value on. So if they place value on maybe that car that got wrecked or that relationship that got ruined, they may cry and they have that right.
Yep.
How dare I say to you that's not valid? You a man, man up. I mean, hurt is still hurt. Your heart is broke, it
Right.
hurts. So I don't see crying in a man as a weakness, unless of course, like I said, he cry every
He's
time the
weak.
wind blows.
Yeah. Yeah. True that. So go ahead, y'all
That's
can
just my
cry.
opinion.
I
I,
still love y'all, but y'all can
there's a
do that.
couple things um that make the landscape a little more complex in terms of and and, and hey guys, pardon the StreamYards is messing up tonight. That's not the individuals here. It's just StreamYards. It's just the platform that we're using. That's why everybody's starting to sound like they're borging out, or as I like to call it, the Max Headroom effect. But I think the thing that men struggle with is trying to identify who they can be vulnerable around, because you have some people that are use that to try and skewer them and emasculate them. And the last thing that a man wants to be is emasculated, because then you force him to compensate by being over masculine. I think that's where that whole toxic masculinity starts to take root at is, oh, he's just trying to prove that he's masculine, that he can do this. Well, no, it's like David says, you have to know your personnel. And if you can't be vulnerable and around the right person for fear of being manipulated or taken advantage of, then you're never going to display that. And I
True
think
that.
that becomes another element that women don't necessarily have to deal with that men do. So once you, and it's like trying to conduct an experiment. You're good with two elements, but you bring a third element into it, and all of a sudden now you've got hell to deal with. And you're like, okay, wait a minute, where did this come from? I didn't expect this, and now that complicates things, and that's not what I want.
Okay, can I respond to that? Because I'm gonna
Yes.
say this. Um, I kind of think. Well, I'm gonna say it like this. I think that it's not always good to make the assumption that women feel okay with being vulnerable, because that's not true. Um,
Word.
I'm everybody's not going to see that side of me, and I'm gonna say this on behalf of all women. We be failing, y'all. When when he
Well,
shows you
let's
something,
clarify something.
we're
I'm just speaking of in terms of what society deems acceptable.
and I'm saying, and I'm responding to that. I'm saying we
Okay.
allow society to dictate the values that you should have, and I don't agree with that. With that
Okay.
being said, with that being said, just like you see that they say the angry black woman thing or the bitter woman syndrome or whatever. Those are things that society give to you. You know, people never dig deeper. But with that being said, I'm gonna say I'm sorry on behalf of all women. We suck sometimes when it comes to building and restoring the men in our lives. We don't respond appropriately because we hold that stereotype for them, but don't want them to hold a stereotype for us. So I'm apologizing on behalf of all women because we suck sometimes. You know, when you're not used to seeing things, and I'm not saying that I'm listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that all the men I know boo and cry because that's not the case. But when it does happen, you have to really be honest and open and let them know that whatever they're feeling is valid and try to help them. So we don't always do well with that
Okay,
because
I'm
we're
back.
taught
I'm sorry.
that men shouldn't be that way and we believe that.
Yeah, Buffalo Sport.
Uh, all right, we got Yolanda had just joined us. Welcome to the Counselor's Corner on StreamYard. Yolanda,
Hey,
you got anything you
Yolanda.
want to add to this? Brolic T. Okay.
Is she muted? I can't see if she's muted or not. The
I don't
question
think
is up.
she's. I don't think she's
I
muted.
think she's frozen
She looks
because she ain't
frozen.
moved.
Oh,
No, I can see a movement.
You can see something going off her glasses, but I don't think she's out there.
There
No, I'm
she
not
is.
muted. I'm here.
okay. So, do you got anything you want to add so far? What you heard, and whatever perspective or points you want to address, you got anything you want to add to it?
Oh, she's gone.
Yes, she's buffering, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
Fred, you ready? You ready to drop some jewels, man? Or you still taking it in?
I'm soaking it all up, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying what these ladies got to hear. You know what I'm saying? Got to say, man. You know, I'm just soaking it up. I'm new to this. You know,
Okay.
every day you learn something new about a person, place, or thing. I'm learning, man. You know, I don't know everything, so
Okay.
just
Well,
trying to
no,
see
no, no.
what's it like from the
We
woman's
just, we just,
perspective.
we just trying to get perspectives to people. That's all.
Say that again.
I didn't hear anything he
We just,
said.
we
Did
just try and
anybody
get a
else? I
different
didn't hear any
perspective
of
from
that.
people. Yeah, no, I heard him. He was just saying basically he's just taking in what the ladies are saying because it's a learning experience. You know,
Okay.
he doesn't know everything. He's learning, and we all here. You know, this is
Yep.
this is why we encourage people to come out because David and I are at least on a lot of things that we cover. We're not subject matter experts. You know, like I said, I had to look this stuff up just to make sure that what I'm talking about, I know what is. Like I said, I'm emotionally available, but not for everyone. I mean, I've said this before. Everybody's not entitled to get a part of me. Sorry, that's just the way that goes. Everybody's not welcome to come to my house. I might have a welcome mat on my door, but I can take that welcome mat up at any time I want to tell you get up out of here. You're not welcome here. I don't want you here. I don't like your kind. You're an energy vampire. And I think to that, that's what a lot of men have to be careful of. Because I know up until I was 30, I was guilty of dealing with the wrong type of female. So for me, that was a
You ain't said
huge issue
that.
I had to resolve. And it wasn't
So,
no amount of therapy, no amount of pointing fingers at people. I had to say, okay, her, what are you doing? And more importantly, why are you doing it? And I think for me it was a way for me to address some childhood issues in terms of my mother and what I deemed I needed to do for a woman. And when I realized I didn't have to do for a woman, that's when I started to become a better person in terms of what I wanted in a mate.
so when you say wrong
What?
type of female, what made them wrong?
They were incomplete. They weren't whole. And it's that old euphemism, Captain Save-A-Hole, that a lot of men find themselves dealing with.
All right. Brolic
So
T,
when
can
you
you hear
spend
us?
time at,
Yes,
I'll
can
put
you
it
hear
like
me?
this.
Yeah. Go ahead. You want to
When
finish
you
your point?
spend
Then I want
time,
to.
okay, when you spend time as a man pouring into something else, you need something to pour back into you. And if you don't get anything that pours back into you, you're going to be empty. So you don't have anything to give to the next person when and if that relationship ends. And I think that's where the lack of emotional unavailableness stems from. You just keep giving and giving and giving. And we hear a lot of people. I know I see a lot of this on Facebook. Most of it seems to come from women that they keep giving of themselves until there's nothing left to give, and all of a sudden now they're empty and they've been depleted. I'll put it another way. Like osteoporosis in older women, their bones start to leach calcium because their body's taking same thing.
All right. Brolic T, you want to add anything?
I mean, there's a couple of things. One, I grew up in a family where it was a majority women, but the men in our family, one of my uncles told me one day, he goes, make no mistake about it. I cry, I just don't cry in public. I keep that shit behind closed doors, and only certain people are allowed to see me do it. He goes, and that's just something that I personally choose to do. And I understood him when he said that, and I'm like that. Like, I, 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 there's only a certain amount of people who get to see certain sides of me. Like, I have three best friends, and it would take all three of them to tell you my entire life story because everybody knows something the other one doesn't. There's no one person that can tell you everything about me. I have three sisters, the same thing. They can only tell you certain things about me. Only one of them, maybe two of them, have probably ever seen me really, really cry. They've all seen me get angry, but to see me cry, it doesn't happen that often. I'd rather just not talk to a person. And as far as emotional vampires go, within the first, I mean, I make it my business within the first 5 minutes of meeting somebody. I know whether this is somebody I can have in my life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And it's just that you're in one of these three categories.
In 5 minutes?
Yep, in 5 minutes. Because I'm trying
She
to decide
good.
now, are you here to stay or you just here to play? And if you're here to play, then I make sure that I treat you accordingly. So as far as like men that are like emotionally unavailable, I dated somebody I won't say I dated, I entertained somebody for about a year or two,
Entertained.
who was emotionally unavailable. But I wasn't interested in anything serious. So it was okay for me to entertain him. And I was one of four. And I was okay with that. But the minute he laid down and was like, hey, you make me want to settle down with you, all bets were off. No, 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 no. We won't change the game. That we're not gonna do. You made the playing field very clear when I came in the door. So now we're not renegotiating the rules. There's no change. Because that's not what I'm looking for. You set the standard, I'm living by that standard, and I'm not interested in changing.
But that
You
just
go ahead
goes
and
to
settle down with
reinforce
someone else.
exactly
All
that
right, let me
that
jump
you
in
just
real quick.
sorry.
It's 9:33. That means riddle time. So I will read the riddle as I put it in the chat. A brand that is an aha moment. Once again, the riddle clue is a brand that is a aha moment. Go ahead.
GE Electrics. I'm just playing, I don't know.
Eureka.
That was
Oh,
a good
I
answer.
do
Who
believe
said
I
that?
heard it.
Who said
That,
that?
no, that is the answer.
I was gonna
Eureka.
That's
say
the
who said
answer.
that. That was
Wow. So that was like what,
We
like
haven't won.
five
Hey,
seconds? Brolic
Innovative.
T.
because
oh wow.
I was thinking like GE, like a light bulb
Yes,
goes off. So that's a
yes,
good
that's
answer.
the answer.
Way to go. Shut them down. Shut them down.
So who
We have a
who actually
winner.
who actually won?
You
it,
what is her
it
name?
wasn't me.
I'm sorry.
My real name
Yes,
is Latoya.
yes. There you go. There's your winner.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations, Latoya.
Thank you.
Got a new champion heading closing out
I know,
2020
right?
with. So do you got Cash App?
Yes.
All right, so you're gonna have to Cash App send your
Send it.
information to myself or her so we can get you your winnings, your
You
stimulus
should already
package.
have my Cash App.
You said you should already have it.
I don't. I think I
Hmm.
last time, and as stupid as this is gonna sound, I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. I didn't realize I had to transfer the money from my Cash App account to my bank account. So here I am sitting with about $200 in my Cash App account, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I finally figured it out. So that's what it was. David has it. I don't.
See, this is where young folks come in that they keep you straight with that kind of stuff.
So I already have it.
Yep.
Okay. All right. We'll make sure we get you your earnings. But let's move forward with the subject of it. We're gonna go into another point, or we still gonna talk about these emotional unavailable men.
I was just gonna piggyback. Well, I was just gonna touch a point on what Miss Latoya said when she said, "I don't show that part of myself to everybody." Again, the stereotype says that it's okay for a woman to be vulnerable, and women are vulnerable, emotional creatures, and that just is not true all the time. In
Certainly
many
not.
many cases, because I don't show that to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm a whole Scorpio. Everybody not gonna see that. Period.
Same here.
No,
You
I'm
get to see
I'm
if you're
Aquarius.
lucky.
I'm fixing to
So,
cry. I
so
don't.
I
what
knew
that
that when
mean
you
by
said
being a
it, though.
Scorpio?
I
She's
We
a
just
don't
killer.
don't.
cry in public.
We we're a different breed. That's all that means.
Yep.
Take no prisoners.
We, no,
Hmm.
well, by nature we're pretty private, and just being able
Uh,
to call yourself a friend take a long time. Okay, okay.
yep. I gotta observe you. Like I said, 5 minutes or less, I could tell if I want to be bothered or if you deserve to be in my circle. And if you don't make the cut in 5 minutes, it is what it is. I'll still be cordial, hey, when I see you, but that's the extent of it.
I've said before, hey, everybody's not gonna get a piece of me.
Got
So I
that
know
right,
where you're
bro.
coming from. I move along for a reason. A handful of people that have access to me, they know what it is, and they know how to get a hold of me. And when the drawbridge is pulled up, that motor's full of crocodiles. If you can get across, it's a bad motor scooter.
Now, what I
I
wanted to
want
do
to
was
ask y'all a question. I want to ask y'all a question. Do
sure,
you
go
all
ahead.
think that? Do you all think that um saying a man is emotionally unavailable is giving him an excuse to not invest in whatever he has going on, whatever relationship, or do you think that gives him that excuse?
I don't know if it gives them an excuse, but I think some people they're just not available, good, bad, or indifferent. So I don't know if it. I mean, if people go around saying, "Yeah, I'm emotionally unavailable," but I think it's signs that kind of dictate for you to know, and like maybe like with Victoria said that well, she said she knows it within 5 minutes. So it's certain things that might let you know that this person he's not there. And some of the signs of the research and this stuff they were saying just little examples like someone who's staying up in the office till late. So someone who works late hours, always hanging out with friends, always on business trips, blaming you for anything and
Yeah,
everything, constantly
yeah,
making fun of you, being sarcastic, using sarcastic or unpleasant tone of voice, saying
yeah.
phrases with additions like "I love you, but," or "if you don't do this, such and such." So those are some of the signs or examples they were saying that emotional unavailable man will demonstrate.
To
And to
me, that
follow
just
up what
sounds like
David,
a butthole effect.
to follow up what
Somebody
David
said,
is saying,
"Oh,
I mean, can you
well, no,
just
to follow
simply
up what
be an
David was
asshole?
saying is 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 what I found is some of the excuses they or some of the red flags were they play games, they avoid conflict, and defensive is their middle name. The only thing I actually took kind of exception to is avoiding conflict. I'm not a person that's going to engage in conflict just because somebody wants to feel fulfilled. That's not me. If you're bringing conflict, and I mean in the sense of the definition conflict, then you and I we ain't gonna mess. I don't. I like a quiet place, a calm house. If you got something that you want to discuss, we can discuss it. But the moment you start bringing that unnecessary energy that you want to raise up and raise your voice, you got to go. I don't need it. Don't want it. I'm not gonna have it. And another thing was they said the defensiveness is their middle name. Now, this is what I found funny because it said this is what it said under that. It said people who are emotionally unavailable can be defensive and blame others for their problems. It said they either they it's easy for them to accuse you than to work together to solve the problem. They can't tolerate being vulnerable. Be worried of people who can't own their part in their conflict because it may be a sign that they aren't willing to connect with you. This is the problem that situation sets up is when you're dealing with somebody who's a closet narcissist. And that, whether it's male or female, can be the undoing of a whole lot because as a person, once you deal with somebody that's a narcissist, it's hard to shake that experience. And that experience for a man can be damaging. And the reason why I say that is this. A lot of people tend to think that when sex occurs, it's just the women taking on that energy just because of the nature of sex. And I'm here to tell you that's not always the case. Because the same way that men can be run by women can be run by sex, so can men. And you will find some men that if they kiss the right female, she'll have him running circles. And she out there doing dirt in front of him, and he'll be like, I don't care. I don't care.
But you know what
And
though?
you'll see
They, you know, when you hear the term emotionally undeveloped, see the reason I think I kind of struggle with that term to a degree now is the simple fact that you can see them pour their emotions out everywhere, except for the person that they don't want to be with. Usually, you just the person they
yes.
don't want to be with because it'll show up. They'll pour their emotions to their job, their children, their hobbies, sports, family, name it. So they're not emotionally unavailable. You just not the person they want to be with.
Well, yes. That I mean, and that's one of the things that I found that was stated in that terms, just as you put it, that they don't want to be with you in that capacity for whatever reason. Now, I'm not here to determine what reason a man is unemotionally available to a particular female, and it just could be it could be something as simple as they remind him of a situation that he no longer wants to dwell on. He doesn't want to go back down that road. It's you it's I'll put it to you like this: you ever go out on a social setting, you ask somebody about a situation, and the first thing they say is, "I don't want to talk about it because it brings up bad memory." Nobody wants to be reminded of a situation that makes them feel bad or uncomfortable because you can see it in their body language. All of a sudden, they start to tense up, they start to close. Their speech becomes a little less inviting, almost to the point where they just shut down, and that vibe changes. People be just in a circle and like somebody just lift a veil or drop a veil or something because the whole mood just switched.
Well, how long can you go with that theme of I don't want to talk about it when you're in a relationship with somebody? How long does that last before somebody says kind of like, man,
Fuck you.
excuse my language, fuck this shit, I'm
Yeah.
out, whatever.
Yep,
How long does
it
it go?
doesn't last too long.
Yeah.
Well,
It don't
I'll tell
last
you,
long.
State.
I will tell you, I've known a person personally that I dated who had that situation and it was went unresolved for years. And this wasn't an adult, went unresolved for years, and it really kept her from connecting to anybody that she was going to date just because she didn't have it resolved. And I understand the situation because it was a very traumatic experience. But at some point in time, it would help you to move on, at least to address the situation so you can move on. I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be the person to tell a woman that, you have to get over being raped. That's not my realm. I'm simply not going to do that. But I will tell you to get to a point where you can address it so you can try and live some resemblance of a reasonable, healthy life for yourself. Because a lot of people, we always hear this term about you got to get out there and live life. Well, who are you living life for? You living it for your kids? You living it for your spouse, or you living it for yourself? And I think we always hear, get out there and do this and meet people. Well, if you're not meeting people for the right reasons, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. I don't care what anybody says. Me, I'm a gregarious person. I like to meet people, but I want to meet people on my terms. I don't just because you come up to me and say hi doesn't mean I'm going to speak to you. I mean, I want to speak to you. You might be wearing something I don't like. You might be wearing a cologne or a perfume that reminds me of somebody that I can't.
Whoa.
See, there you go with that
Yeah.
bullshit
Don't
again.
stand in the
Okay.
corner with that
How
garbage. That's just
rude,
crazy.
Herb. How rude.
You be doing so good, and then you
Now,
just,
now
you
listen.
just can't.
Exactly. He was
Just hit a
doing
wall with that
so
You
one.
be
well.
doing
Sorry.
so. You be having.
Hold
I
on, wait a
feel
minute.
you. I
Hold
feel
on,
you,
wait a
and you
minute.
just.
Hold on, wait a minute. Did I not say earlier that everybody's not entitled to my personal time and space?
But to say
So
hello, that's your
I'm
time and
thank
space
you,
saying hello.
thank you, thank you.
hey,
Exactly.
just because you say hi to me doesn't mean I have to respond. It's a request. I don't have to acknowledge the request. Call it
You
mean, call it
absolutely
There
rude.
you go. Just changing.
See,
There you go. No,
It's
see, my
Herbert.
grandma, oh Lord,
talk to
help
your
me.
boy. Please talk to your
My
boy.
grandma said there's nothing wrong. Like, it don't cost you nothing to say hello to somebody.
What
Not
she
asking
said.
you to have a whole conversation. I'm just being polite. And you're being mad rude. That leaves a bad impression with women. Because then we start talking like, girl, I said good morning to him the other day, and he
Nigga
ain't
looked
say
at me
nothing
like I
back.
was
What
crazy.
is his problem?
Thank you.
And then you
You
That
wonder
is
said
why
not
nice
a
everybody
things to
looking
my
at you
father.
crazy,
problem.
but I mean, it don't cost you
That is
nothing to say
not
hello.
a
That don't mean.
problem.
And you know what? Hold up, because this is a double standard right here. Why is it
No, it isn't.
men get
Don't
upset?
say
No,
it. Please don't say
let
it.
me finish. Why is
Don't.
it
I know
men
what
get
she's doing.
upset and y'all assume? Why is it when a woman doesn't speak to a man who says hello, it's a double standard? Oh,
Now she a
why every
bitch.
woman think a man trying to holler at him just because I said hello or hey? Why do you
Now
think
she
that
a
I don't
bitch.
think
a
that
woman wants
you
you?
have to
Maybe
answer
she's
that
just
question
being
to a man who
polite.
does that.
Some
I don't
people
do
were
it.
raised to say hello when they see a person. Just
My
saying.
thing, my thing is this: if you make damn eye contact and we look at you in the eyes, I
Say
think, hey, how you
hello.
doing? Whatever. I think that's a natural thing to do. If you're looking at somebody, looking them deep in their damn face, whatever. But for someone to speak to you and you don't say nothing at all, I don't know. That's well,
It's
that's
shit.
No,
crazy.
no, no,
It's
no,
just
no.
Ooh,
shit.
Hear what I'm saying? I'm saying I reserve the right to or not to speak.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
that's how
that's your
you
choice.
are.
That's your choice. Yeah, that's your
That's
choice.
how you are,
That's
and
it.
you know it. That's exactly how
I'm
you
not gonna
are.
make
I
you
don't.
go
That's
through
your
it.
choice, but I'm just letting you know that comes
I
across as
mean,
rude.
common
If you
I'm,
feel
courtesy
I,
like
goes a
It
long.
somebody ain't
it
worthy
doesn't
of your
hurt to
time,
just,
you're not even gonna.
I
you
You
can
am
just nod
49.
your head. You ain't even gotta open your mouth. You could just go ahead, nod. Just acknowledge that person spoke.
It is. Herbert don't make any
Common
bones for
courtesy.
it.
Common courtesy goes a long way. There is no harm in
he know
having
that.
common
But I
courtesy.
never said there was. I never said there was,
You need to
which is
stop
why I
that.
don't speak to everybody. I just don't. Yes, mom. I'll
Yolanda
stop
said
it as soon as you
cocky.
stop.
She said Yolanda said cocky and arrogant. Mm.
Loving every woman is simple.
Now, Anita, let me read Anita's comment because it was lengthy. She said, well, sometimes it's only for the person to resolve or work on that issue within themselves first before they talk about it with someone they trust and have feelings invested in. So no one should make me feel pressured to talk about or revisit a personal trauma. There are things that I have never told anyone. When a person says something out loud, it becomes actually real that it happened, and everyone isn't ready to talk about it or deal with it. Anybody got
And that's
anything
true
they would
too.
add to that? Okay.
I mean, that's true too.
I
You have
agree.
to, you listen. Everybody's going to move to things in their own time. For example, I have one son. When something happens, he going to start talking immediately. And then I have another one where you're going to have to wait until he's ready to talk. So you have to, that comes into play with, kind of knowing your people. But you do have the right to speak on it when you're ready. Like I heard a guy tell a female, his um broad. He told her one time, he said, I'm asking you what's wrong right now. And if you don't want to tell me right now, I don't want to talk about it later. And I just, it's not my business because it wasn't my man. But I was like, the nerve of you. How dare you tell somebody something like that, but,
You
whatever.
I agree with you. That's like somebody not saying hi when somebody else speaks to them. How about that?
No, it's
That is
not.
not the same.
It is
That is
not the
not the
same.
same.
And you know better
I
than
know
even let
it
some
isn't the
shit like
same.
that
That's the
fall out your
point.
mouth. It's not the
That's
point. And
but
you know
that's
it's
my
not the
point.
point.
It's not the same.
Black man, you are not stupid. That is not the point. And that
No,
it
no, no,
doesn't
no,
even
no.
come close in comparison. It doesn't even, that would be like a case in point. You just lost your mom. You wasn't ready to tell everybody, but you told some people. And if somebody pressured you into trying to make you tell them about what just happened with your mom, I would have to fly all the way back to New York just to bitch slap somebody. But you walking past me saying hello, that doesn't compare. That does not compare.
You're
So
right. It
stop.
doesn't. I was being
All right
facetious
then.
when I said it.
Okay, then we can move on because you ain't gonna let you do that. You got a room full of grown women tonight. We ain't fixing to let you do that.
Pretty
Get together.
much.
So
Yeah,
let's let's,
that's
let's
a true statement, though. You do have to give people their time and their space because
Yeah.
not everybody knows them. In therapy, they say create a bubble of safety. And you have to give a person that in order for them to even. You have to first build up trust. It just doesn't come overnight. And once that's there, you may be able to provide that. But without it, it's things that people ain't gonna never know about me. Those are things I'm never gonna tell. It's just the way it is, you know what I'm saying? Because it just is. And I don't expect for somebody to tell me everything about them, but when they're ready to talk, I am definitely open to listening. And it does not, that just applies.
So again, is there a time frame when you say ready to talk? If you're in a relationship with someone and they've been harboring stuff for like 2-3 years, and you like, man, I know this is eating this person up, whatever, and they keep saying they're not ready to talk about it. When do you say again, I can't do it no more? It's impacting me. It's impacting our relationship. I gotta go. Can't deal with it no more. So I
Well,
don't know if
everybody
I
has
don't
a
know if it's
choice
forever.
whether to stay or go. Can't nobody force you to be somewhere that you don't want to be. And what works for you might not work for the other person. But I agree with her. Some things that have occurred in one's life, they may never be ready to talk about it. Ever. To anyone, let alone family or friends. They might not ever. Um, I haven't spoken on my brother's suicide in decades, and I
Mm.
don't particularly want to talk to about it, not even with family. It is what it is. And so, and if that's manifesting outwardly to somebody and it's doing something to our relationship and he decides that he doesn't want to stay, that is absolutely his right. My feelings might be hurt and I might be mad, but it's still, everybody has a right to do exactly what the hell they want to do. When it comes to leaving or staying in a relationship. So you can't
But
bully me into expressing myself, but I also can't bully you into staying with me when I don't want to talk to you. So
and
I would never hate on nobody.
there is no timestamp on
Yeah.
trauma. And it really is up
No.
to each individual how long they think they can last in a certain state. But there
Yeah.
is no time stamp on trauma. Things that happen from, 0 to now, depending on the level of trauma, it may take some time and they may not, they might be stuck in the rest of development. When that moment happened, they weren't able to progress beyond that. So that's where they're stuck at. So there's no timestamp. So I can't say to you, I demand you to tell me what's wrong, but I want him to patty cake me and baby cake me until I'm ready. It doesn't work like that. If there are some like I said, some things you'll never know about me, you have to expect that about whoever you with too. There are some things that just the door is going to be closed, and that's just that. That's it. That's all.
And prying it open ain't gonna do nothing except cause problems that don't need to be caused.
Gonna
It
Just
is
get
leave
true.
it alone.
exposed.
That is true. There is no timetable. You can never tell. Um, anybody like when should they get over hurt or when they should be over something. But you do have those people in those roles in relationships that have that mindset. Like, how long ago was that? Get over that shit, move past that, or whatever the case is. And I think a lot of that happens in relationships with people.
Yeah, I agree with that, but too bad. I mean, literally, too bad. It
Don't
just,
you think that,
you know
I
what I'm
mean,
saying? Like, what
you
type of
just
man
heard
or
her say
woman would
there's,
I be if I can't give you time? Regardless of, like she said, how much time it takes to process what's hurting you. Would I want to know? Yeah, I really would. But if you're not ready to tell me, fuck you. I mean that with all sincerity and love in my heart. You can go ahead on and exit to the left, because it just is what it is. But I would never do that to anybody, and I wouldn't expect anybody to do it to me. But I know people do that. You know,
and
I
this is
know
where
they do that. And like she says, shame on you, because we got so many other things that we need to be trying to fix up and around here, other than you talking about whatever that is and not wanting to talk about it. So
and this is also where knowing the person you're with comes into play. You understand what I'm saying? I
you
don't
keep
want to
saying know
ever
your
open a
personnel.
wound. I don't ever want to open a wound just because I'm curious. If I open a wound, it's because I want you to heal it, and I'm here to help you heal. Otherwise, I have no business
Man,
scratching the scab and performing surgery just because I'm curious.
Yeah, you don't
I
know
don't have
what you
that right.
stepping into. You have no idea
exactly.
what you fixing
That's
to
why I
open
said don't
up.
go pry and open no doors that
You
don't need to
know,
be open.
you know.
I
'Cause you
see.
never know what's gonna come out, what's gonna come from the other side of that door. They
Word.
You got
might
that?
be able to handle the situation and get over it, or they might let some crazy out on you. You just don't know what's on the other side of it. So sometimes it's, like they say, sleeping dogs lie. Leave it alone.
And I
Yeah.
learned that in counseling 101, pretty much. When people ask people questions, whatever, you better be going somewhere with the question. Don't
Yeah.
just be asking whatever to be asking. Then these people unleash this information on you. Then your ass don't know what to say or what to do about it. You better be going somewhere with it, with your level of questioning.
Last thing
That's
you
all.
want to find out is your man is a serial killer, and now he done decided to tell you, and you ain't nowhere near the front door. So yeah,
Yep.
In
I'm
that
just
order.
saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I agree with the two of them wholehearted. The last thing you want to know while you being nosy, demanding somebody tell you everything, is to find out some shit that yeah, you look just like his mama that he's hated all his life, and yeah. Mm-mm.
And since you
Yeah.
want to know now, here it
Now
goes.
you
Now what
fixing to
you
know
gonna
why I
do?
got this hatchet in my hand. Yeah. Mm-mm. So
Bride of Chucky,
I
huh?
I'm just saying,
Yep.
you
You
can put
never
that on
know.
men and women. Sometimes we all push
I'm
too
gonna
hard in the
get you.
relationship. It ain't just
But
a
she's
girl
right
thing or a
though.
guy
You
thing. I think it's just people being nosy at the wrong time, like she said. Just stay. Sometimes you got to stay in your own lane, even in your relationship. So,
because I would really
Yeah.
hate to scratch a wound and find out that that person is the crazy candlelight killer. Because now what? Now
and you
what?
ain't nowhere
I'm
near
with
the
her.
front door. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Can I get a weapon? I just need
Well,
to use the bathroom.
he's been preparing for this shit for quite some time now. Yeah, nah, I'm
Okay.
good. Yeah, so we good with
And
that.
that goes for men too. Sometimes they like to scratch their wounds because they are curious. I want to know everything, and then they find out some stuff, and it
And
traumatizes them for the rest of their lives.
Like I
and
was
they
a
don't know
man
how
and
to
now I'm a
react because
woman.
it's like, okay, now okay, I asked this question, she answered it. Now what do I say? Like
This man,
how do I heal this? And I don't know the first thing about it. Like,
let me tell you something. This man kept asking the woman that he was with, "When did you fall in love with me? When did you fall in love with me?" Okay, and she said, "Honey, I love you and I respect you, and I chose you." So it broke his spirit when he learned that she was never in love with him. See, he pried that wound open. It wasn't good enough that she was good to him and they was good to each other and whatever they had, I can't remember if they was married or not, but whatever they had was working
It
for
don't
them.
matter after
He kept,
that. It's
I can't can't remember, but I'm just simply saying that. I mean, that sounded good. I want to know everything. Tell me this moment. And when he got that cold dose of water, he was traumatized, like super traumatized. Like, I can't believe this. You never said this to me, type thing. But you shouldn't have asked her. You asked all the other times. She said that she kept, just reassuring him that I really love you and all that type of stuff, and he just wouldn't let it go. And so when
Shame,
she finally
shame on
did, when
her.
God finally, well, shame on him.
Well,
Shame on
yeah,
him.
and I think
And on him, he should have took a hint.
Really?
it's
Now
what you
When
said
you
earlier, David.
What's that?
you love somebody, you're in love with somebody. If I love you, I love you. Shut up already. Dang. I mean, come on now. If I'm with you, I'm with you. I mean, just now you being a
listen,
punk.
he kept listening.
Now
That
you
man
being
kept
a
If,
punk.
asking that.
Yeah, shut
He
up.
kept asking that question because he already knew the answer.
Yeah,
He
men are
just wanted
supposed
to
to
hear
love
her say
women
it.
more than we love them anyway. It keeps us on even footing. So yeah, shut up.
there's never an even level of love in relationships, are
Men
there?
should love us more than we love them. Yes, it does. It keeps us even. It absolutely keeps us even. I'm a firm believer in that.
You know what? I would agree with you,
I
Rebecca,
am a
if
firm believer.
if if men and women love the same way. We don't.
It don't matter. But when a man loves a woman, like when he is cut for her ass, you can see it all over his face every day, every moment. So
Correct.
don't.
You will.
Mm-mm.
You
Yep.
absolutely
You can
will.
see that shit, the way he move, everything. You can see it. When a man loves a woman more than she loves him, it always keeps him thinking about her when he makes choices as head of the household. It keeps them on equal footing because we're cut to love. The more you care about us, the more we love you. It's just ingrained in our nature of who we are. But when a man loves you more than you love him, it keeps you right here. And to me, that love it just goes straight across the board. But that is just me.
Or or sometimes when a man loves a woman and you know he may love you more, you may say some women, "Oh, you're crowding me. Like it's too much. Whatever. You're doing too much." I mean, so shit. I don't know. You can't win for
That's
losing
I'm
sometimes.
only talking about real women here, so grown ups.
Yeah,
I
I
ain't
was
talking
really.
about to
about
say,
them
I don't know
childish
what
ass
kind of
men.
woman it is. That's definitely not a grown
Yeah,
woman.
we don't do
I'm
that
just
shit. Yeah, grown women
yeah.
don't do that shit. When I say that, it may not sound right, but trust and believe. There's nothing more than seeing a man display his feelings like that and a woman receiving it and vice versa, receiving it like that. I would never be so bold as to try to walk over a man simply because he loves me. Women don't do that shit. Girls do that shit.
Okay.
And I think when we have some of these discussions, y'all really be talking about girls and shit. Y'all ain't talking about women because we don't
No,
we
Y'all
we
don't
really
do
talking
that
about
don't.
raggedy
no,
shit.
we talking about grown ass women who call
Grown
themselves
ass
grown
women
ass
don't
women.
do that shit. We don't do stuff like that. We think just like grown ass men. We out here trying to make some shit work, grow old together, save some money, take a vacation, raise these kids, pay these bills, get some yah, and don't nobody got time for the rest of that tomfoolery. That's what I go to work for. I'm just saying. I
I'm
personally
just
don't. I
gonna
got too much
interject this
shit going
too.
on to be having to
Based
come
on
home and argue with my man about some bullshit. I'm just not here for it. I just simply don't have time or the energy. My ass is getting old. So I feel like you talking about girls
I'm
when you
gonna
say
say
that.
sometimes though, listen, men are just like women. They don't pay attention to them red flags. In the
True
case of
that.
that couple, in the case of that couple, she loved him. She just wasn't head over heels in love with him, and he was in love with her. So that red flag that kept having him ask that question, he ignored long before they got into whatever it was. I can't remember they was married, but before they got into their relationship, he ignored that red flag. He knew the answer. He knew the answer. That's why he kept asking the question.
You know what this is?
So
You know what this reminds me of, David? This reminds me of the whole Jada Pickett Smith, Will Smith situation, where we talked about what can we learn from them. I think a lot of people had jumped on them just because they were, they're in the Hollywood and they do that weird alternative lifestyle. And the one thing that we said was what we could learn from them was to allow each other to be human. And I think far too often we don't. Excuse me. We don't do that. We don't allow people to err. We don't allow people to make mistakes. We don't allow people to be human. And the first time somebody does something that we consider wrong, we want to jump on it for whatever reason and just say, you shouldn't be doing that or you can't do that. Well, who are you to reprimand somebody? Who are you to
Well,
tell
you
somebody
can't
that they
cheat on
can't
me and
do
think
X, Y,
that I ain't
Z?
gonna say shit. I mean, come on now.
No, 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 no. No,
Pretty
hold on.
much.
No,
Me
Like,
not
hold it.
vacuuming
Wait
the
a minute
floor
now.
or loading the
Because
dishwasher right is one thing, but you can't cheat on me or spend up all the bill money and think I ain't gonna say shit, nigga. You'll be lucky to
Okay.
wake up, and I'm not joking. So yeah, allowing somebody to be them, do you? I'm a firm believer in that, but you're not fixing to fuck up my shit while you trying to, experiment and be you. So yeah, no, to hell with that.
but but
be
but you
you
have
in your lane.
but you have people that engage in that type of behavior, and
But
because
that's
they
them. I can't learn from that. I can't learn
oh no 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 no,
from
I'm
them
not saying you
because
can't. I'm just saying nobody has actually told them, hey, look, you can't do
yeah,
that type of stuff. Not with me. Just because you've always
yeah,
done it, don't mean I'm going to tolerate it.
those white people problems. I can't.
Let me say
Yeah,
something. Wait a minute.
I'm
Wait
not
a
here for
minute.
that.
Wait a minute.
I'm just
Wait
saying
a
I
second.
can't.
Now, knowing your partner, there's
John
just
is
some
back,
things you
y'all.
just don't have to say. Yeah, that's John. There are just some things you don't have to say because they already know.
Thank you.
You just heard her say if her dude cheat on her, he already know what the deal is. Some things you don't have to say
You know?
because it's already it comes
Yeah,
with the territory. This, and this ain't gonna happen. This, and this happen. You got a problem you don't want.
yeah,
Least of all, you know what I'm saying. So to have to spell out everything ABC, when people do that to me, they're looking for a way to what they call that when they looking for another inroad. So if I have to say A, B, C, D, and E, you looking for the cracks between A, B, C, and D that you can get in and do what you think you can
yeah.
do that is, undetectable. That's some BS right there. That's all I'm saying.
The only people that agree
All right,
with
let
them
me
is all them other swingers and shit. They the only ones that's happy about that's okay with that shit that they doing. Can't nobody learn nothing from them fools.
let me read what Frederick said. Frederick said, "It's always signs that things just don't go and things just don't happen. We choose to turn a blind eye and a deaf ear as well." And that's what I was talking about in terms of people setting somebody else up. So down the line, that the behavior that they're engaging in with them, they think it's okay, and it's not until they actually run into somebody and they
Yeah.
say, "Look, you can't do that here. You may jump on the furniture at your mother's house, at your father's house, your friend's house, but you can't do that here." And that's when they get that awakening and that aha and that epiphany moment that they got to change, or else they're going to end up catching something that they hadn't been bargaining for. And,
Okay,
and
see, I
John, let
thought
me
you was
read
talking about
something
the
from
person looking for a loophole.
But
well,
people know
yeah,
the
I
basics of right and wrong. I mean, come on.
right.
Your
Every
conscience screams at you when you're doing the wrong thing. Like it's just yelling all over the place. You know when you're doing something raggedy, and just because don't nobody check you on it, all that means is that you're just getting away with it. It doesn't make it right,
right,
or
right.
wrong. It just means you got away with something. So,
That's
you
the
know,
loophole.
I'm just saying don't bring that shit over here. Don't come to Texas with that.
And it remind me like some of
Okay.
the things that y'all was saying when Scorpio T said some things shouldn't be said or you already know it without asking. It
Yeah.
reminds me of what my grandmother used to always say. Well, she used to always say, sometimes you don't know what to say next. So like you don't know what to say. Like when people come out with stupid questioning or whatever the case, she used to always say, "Boy, you don't know what to say next. You don't know what to say out your mouth." So and I think that happens in
Or
relationships
somebody
sometimes.
tell you the truth and you wasn't really ready to hear it, even though
Yeah.
you asked for it. Yeah. You
Uh-huh. You
just
don't know. You don't know the follow up. You don't know like how am I going to follow up with this now?
And I'm a firm believer in do not ask me for anything you are not willing to give or to do. Do not ask me. Because if you ask me, I guarantee you're going to be standing in the same line, putting up the same thing. I promise you, you are. Do not ask me for anything that you're not willing to do. And that goes across the board, friends, family, everybody. Don't ask me.
yes,
So
sir.
Let me
that's
read
what
what
it
John from
goes
America
without
said.
saying.
Good man, John
Go
from San
ahead.
Antonio. He says, "I think we all have some healing and learning to do, even as men and women, just from having a traumatic childhood trauma. And that's a question I'm gonna ask on the future show: is how do we actually heal from that trauma? That doesn't have to be answered now because we're running up against it, and I got to get ready to go to work. But that's something to think about for an upcoming show because that's definitely going to be a talking point. Because I think a lot of what we have as adults that we date with is unresolved trauma, whether it be from a past relationship or a childhood.
And most people have some form of trauma in their life. Something happened, and you have those people who act like, "Oh no, I'm good, and everything is good." Those type of people, I tend to like, nah, something going on, whatever. We all got some story to tell, good, bad, or indifferent, and it's just a matter of getting that level of comfort with that person to be able to express it. So, like Herb said, we running up on time. So 30 seconds. I like everybody to give their follow up, something they want to say as we close out the show. So we'll start with the new champ or the two-time champ, uh, Latoya. Anything you want to your closing comments on this segment? Brolic T. You're muted. Okay. Rebecca.
Again, I enjoyed myself, like I always do. Love the topics. Love the fact that um, your boy said last week that no matter how you feel about a situation, you will not back down. And I will say that about you, Herb. You stick to your guns. I can always appreciate that, even when I don't like them, baby. You know I love you. Um, can't wait till next week to hear what we discuss. And I hope you come back. Hope you come back. I like having the ladies in the room. I love her reasoning. So I love to hear what y'all have to say. But appreciate y'all for letting me come.
Oh, no problem. All day long.
You know,
Appreciate that.
stand across the gray area. Godspeed. See you next time.
Scorpio T. Closing remarks.
I'm just gonna say that tonight was tonight was a struggle to get here. I did lose my brother on Christmas Eve, so I'm
Oh,
Sorry to
happy
hear
that I
that.
was able.
Ooh.
It's okay.
sorry for
I
your
was
loss.
happy that I was able to show up and put a thought or something, hopefully something valid in.
You
I
did.
am glad that you guys allowed me to come back. So, and as Rebecca said, it's always nice to have intelligent women. Rebecca, I look
Yes.
forward to seeing you when I come on
Thank you.
here that have something to say. And I'm not disqualifying anybody else because this is my first time seeing Latoya too. So I like it when our guys speak up and they put that male perspective out, even when it makes absolutely no sense. But they do put it out there, so so we can address it. And finally, I'm gonna say, y'all, John came back. So that's
John
it
from
for me.
America, Sean John.
Came back, y'all.
I'm a redwood. You can't chop down a petrified tree.
You
You can
you
only read
you're not lying.
You
You're
just
not
set it
lying.
on fire, baby, and watch it
Boy,
burn.
he ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere. So yeah, he
You got
right
to set
about
it on
that.
fire and watch it burn. That's all.
It's not even gonna burn. So
no,
yeah,
it won't. It's a petrified tree ain't moving. You can't do
yeah,
nothing
he
with it.
ain't
Just
going
admire it.
nowhere. Yep, he
I'm
ain't
just
going
All
nowhere.
right.
talking
But
trash.
it's all right though.
I'm just talking trash. Just talking
Yeah.
trash, y'all.
So, Brolic T, I don't
I
know.
see you,
Thinking you
John.
might be muted.
I mean, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
Usually I'm in the comments and I
Uh-huh.
seen the topic and I was like, maybe I'll chime in, just,
we're
throw
glad you
something in
Appreciate
did.
here. My 2 cents.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Appreciate you
So
came through. Each and every one of you bring a different insight, different perspective, and that's what make the conversation more dynamic and make us all learn and grow. Like Herbert said, no, we're not the experts in this. And many times I've been posting stuff for years, and people like, oh, are you the relationship expert? Hell no, I'm not no relationship expert. But I know we have dysfunctions that we need to talk about. And that's what the platform is, to put stuff out there and let's talk instead of sweeping stuff under the rug. And that's probably my closing point to all of this, that we got to continue to have these conversations and challenge each other and have these courageous conversations, because other than that, we'll keep doing the same damn thing over and over and expecting different results. Insanity. So with that
Because
said,
guess what? The relationship experts ain't experts neither. So
hell no, they not. All right, so with that said, we're out. Stay tuned for the watch parties. If y'all have any topics that you want to bring up for next week's show, inbox myself or Herb, and we'll address it, and we'll go from there. And everybody, I'll be coming on and doing something, another segment from my book Cocktail Conversations on Wednesday or Thursday. So stay tuned for that. But other than that, if I don't see you, everybody have Happy New Year's. Stay safe. Make sure we already know the mask, social distancing, whatever. Keep it cool, people. That's all I can say is keep it cool and be safe. And I'll see you guys soon. I appreciate you all.
Bye.
Take care,
All right.
bro.
bye, y'all.
Yeah.